What is going on, guys? Welcome back. My name is Wolfe Glick. I'm the 2016 Pokemon World Champion, and today I'm here to walk you through a really interesting Pokemon and a Pokemon that happens to counter very well the Torkoal that I covered yesterday in my Torkoal video. And if you watched that video, you know that I hate Torkoal, so I'm very happy to cover this Pokemon. So before we jump into it, I just want to say that I wasn't sure which Pokemon I wanted to do today, so I took a poll on Twitter, and it was really close. You can see 33% said Pelipper, 33% said Mudsdale, and barely 34% said Araquanid. So I'll be doing more polls like this in the future, so if you want to have a say in which Pokemon I do, follow me on Twitter. Cool. Anyway, Araquanid. Araquanid is really interesting because of its water bubble ability. Basically, what water bubble does is it doubles the power of all water type moves before adding stab. So it basically gives it, I think a 2.25 boost, but I don't know exactly, but it's basically an enormous boost to all of its water type attacks, and it prevents burn. So it can't be burnt, and its water type attacks get way stronger. The caveat to that is they've given it like relatively low offensive stats. And that means that its other moves that aren't water type are going to be a lot weaker. But its low base HP is kind of compensated by its really high base special defense, and its defense isn't high, but it's not terrible either. Yeah. So let's just jump into it. It has some good supporting moves. I mainly focused on offensive sets in this guide, but it does have some good supporting moves you can look into if you want, and also some other good coverage moves to work offline. Okay, basically, let's look at it. This is your first set that I'm showing you guys. It's Liquidation, Protect, Poison Jab, and Lunge. I like Lunge here. You could also use Leech Life. I like Lunge because it lowers the target's attack by 100% of the time, and so that can come really in handy because, like I said, Araquanid doesn't have like huge base defense, and Lunge isn't going to be doing a ton of damage anyways, except in like fringe cases, so I think it's normally useful to have like a secondary effect. Poison Jab is primarily there for grass type Pokemon, especially Tapu Bulu and Lilligant, both of whom are problematic. So the EVs are not super straightforward. It has low base HP, so you're normally going to want to maximize its HP. Because it has such high base special defense, you get like a lot more utility out of adding a special defense boosting nature. So even though you're using it offensively, it normally makes more sense to run a special defense boosting nature. And I gave this set a Wackenberry because I'm planning, obviously you'd want to pair Araquanid with a Tapu Pokemon, and I would probably recommend Tapu Bulu. And this is Thunderbolt versus this spread with out of grassy terrain, or out of electric terrain. So yeah, basically it doesn't do any damage with a Wackenberry, and of course the second attack will do more, but you can make basically, let's make a stick. You can see that it's never gonna 2-hit KO. And in return, Liquidation is gonna do a sizable chunk. Like that's like a really like sizable chunk of damage. So that's why I personally like Wackenberry on this set, because it allows you to not have to fear Tapu Koko if you can get it out of terrain. It will KO. It will 2-hit KO if they're in their terrain, as you can see here. But the caveat to that is that you might be able to double up into the Tapu Koko and not fear getting O-code, because you can see this doesn't even do 50%. So yeah, that's why I like that set. And I wanted to make sure, like, show you guys, even without a boosting nature, you're still doing a lot of damage. So Liquidation, this is Liquidation versus Marowak. It's always going to OHKO. And Marowak, obviously, a big threat in the mid-metagame. So that's pretty convincing. And then lastly, this is just, okay, so even though this is 4 times damage, Poison Jab does nothing. It doesn't OHKO, which might be what you'd expect. But this damage is actually, like, sizable enough that for me, it's worth it. Especially because if you run Tapu Bulu with Araquanid, I think the Pokemon that are, like, Tapu Bulu... The Tapu that Tapu Bulu struggles most with, I think, is other Tapu Bulu. So that's why I like Poison Jab here, especially if they take damage from recoil. Though, as you can see, Woodhammer will do a lot. Oh, I don't have any EVs on this yet, so yeah, that's that. Work offline. Sorry, guys. Next up, I have a Choice Band set. Similar EVs, but they're EVs to do different things. Max HP, 220 attack, and 4 special defense. And I haven't talked about Torkoal yet, but don't worry, guys, it's coming. So here's Choice Band Liquidation versus Tapu Koko, and here's Thunderbolt and Electric Terrain in return. So this doesn't even have the 28 EVs I put in defense. And okay, this isn't even my total EVs. This is like, because I think what do we say, 220? Yeah. So as you can see, like basically Water Bubble. Liquidation does a lot of damage. I was just showing you the minimum amount of damage that you needed if you wanted to OHKO. Next up we have, the EVs are actually for always OHKOing max HP Tapu Lele, who is a big threat. And as you can see, Psychic does not come close to OHKOing, and if you get it in a different terrain, it's still going to do like 0 damage. Not 0 damage, but it's not going to do as much as you're going to do in return, because you can see Liquidation does so much damage. And then lastly, this is in Sun, guys. So if you get this out of Sun, if you ran this with your own weather, that's an OHKO on Torkoal, and in return, Torkoal can do at most 28%. which is like not super significant. It's probably going to be doing closer to 26 or 27% anyways. Yeah, so I think that's really funny. As you can see, thanks to Water Bubble and Araquanid's huge special defense stat, Torkoal does not do damage at all. And I'll show you some more funny Torkoal calcs later in a bit. So, last up we have this Assault Vest set. General idea here is capitalizing on Araquanid's very high base special defense. This becomes like a monstrous number once you multiply it by 1.5. Same moves as before, only this time I've dropped, nope, same as before, exact same as before. So, again, Liquidation, primary means of offense, Poison Jab for coverage, Lunge to lower attack and leash life when you have like something that you can KO, and you can like, will let you heal damage. Or if you want to like heal damage versus like, let's say there's like a Lilligant and a Leaf Storms you, and then you're like, okay, and like you want to leech life so you can take back damage. So it's for grass types that you don't want to Poison Jab, and it's just like a good fourth. You can run Crunch, but I don't think Crunch is great, because Liquidation is going to hit most things harder. I think you mainly want moves as secondary effects, or moves that you're going to be using for 4 times damage. So, moving on. This is Tapu Koko Thunderbolt in Grassy Terrain versus Araquanid, and it doesn't do anything. Like, it's a 4-hit KO, which is really ridiculous in my opinion, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's really funny. I think I'm interpreting that correctly. Yeah, it's a 4 KO in Grassy Terrain. So this is, again, intended to be paired with Tapu Bulu, and as you can see, in return, you're doing a lot of damage. So, this is, like, Tapu Koko. This is, like, Thunderbolt. This isn't a weak move at all. And so, I thought that was really funny. Next calc I have is I want to make sure you guys still Oko Alolan Marowak. This is actually, coincidentally, like, this isn't what I used for, but it just happens to be the exact amount you need to Oko Alolan Marowak. So, even without a choice band, you're still doing a ton of damage to Marowak. Tapu Lele Psychic, this is in Psychic Terrain. So, if you change this to Grassy Terrain, possible 5-hit KO. Like, no, it's not going to 5-hit KO, I don't think. And I guess I should put in the attack to show you guys how much it does. Yeah, so as you can see, we're doing a lot more damage to it than it's doing to us. That's nothing. That's no damage, especially in Grassy Terrain. Like, that's literally 0 damage. So, Araquanid is a great special wall, and I picture thinking, like, wasn't there, like, one more Pokemon I want to, like, know what Araquanid does stuff against? And if you are, this is Torkoal Eruption. This isn't like, you know, your in-game Charizard Flamethrower. This is Torkoal Eruption. Not even 19%. That's nothing. That's actually 0.00. And once you damage them, because you will be able to, so you can switch in, take maybe 20%. And by the way, if you have Grassy Terrain on the field, you can heal that. So they can be doing at most 12% a turn effectively, and at like as little as 9% with Eruption. This is 4% to 6.5% with Grassy Terrain on the field. In Sun. 4% from Torkoal Heatwave. And by the way, you can't be burnt. Ever. You cannot be burnt because of your ability. And even, I wouldn't even, like you're far out damaging them. How much do I have? 232 or something? I don't know. Is that right? Oh, wait, no, 180. Ooh, sorry, guys. Something like this. Like, you're 3-hit KOing them, and they are possibly 8-hit KOing you. Possibly 8-hit KOing, because once you hit them once, they're not going to do this much damage again, and that's not accounting for Grassy Terrain. Possibly the worst move ever. Torkoal Eruption, possible 8-hit KO. Possible 8-hit KO, if they're lucky. Yeah, so I think that's crazy. That's why I think this Pokemon really hard counters Torkoal. Anyway, in terms of partners, I like Marowak as a partner personally because Lightning Rod will redirect your electric type attacks. Because even though you can, on all these sets, you can take electric type attacks. I'd rather not if we had the choice. And Marowak also is weak to water, and like as you can see, Araquanid is like a phenomenal switch into water because it can't be burnt by Scald, and yeah, it can do like damage in return. Not a ton of damage, but it can always switch in, which is nice. Other things, weak to ground, resist ground, share a weakness to rock, so that's problematic. So be aware of that. But they both resist fire, so they're good partners for Tapu Bulu. Garchomp is next because it's immune to electric and it resists rock, and it hits rock type Pokemon super effective. So, or for super effective damage, I should say. So that's why I like Garchomp here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I've already shown kind of Araquanid doing pretty well versus the Tapu Pokemon, so especially if they're not faster, or if you have like a berry, like a Rosalie berry on your Garchomp, you can do something cool where, like, for example, let's take Tapu Lele, where like you do 60% with Liquidation with like the Assault Vest set, and then you don't have to fear because you're super bulky, so they can't really do anything in return. And then if your Garchomp has like Poison Jab or even Earthquake, like Earthquake plus Liquidation will KO Tapu Lele. So I think it's like a really interesting thing. And then lastly, I've talked about it a lot, but I really like Tapu Bulu here. By the way, guys, this Marowak set was taken from one of my videos. If you're interested in learning what the EVs do or why the moves are chosen, you should watch the video. I'll link it in the description down below. Same with the Tapu Bulu set. I've got other Tapu Bulu sets if you're interested in other ones. But basically, Woodhammer, Leech Seed, Superpower. On a set like this, you could even run Horn Leech over Woodhammer. If you wanted to stick around longer, which might be valuable, and you were less interested in offense, but I think Woodhammer is also great. So, yeah, this is just like the straightforward Tapu Bulu set that I have, but yeah, Tapu Bulu a really great partner. It really makes the team like it allows you to run Pokemon that are weak to ground, which can support Araquanid very well because now you have 2 Pokemon already that can switch into ground type attacks. So, all in the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.